December 18, 2022. Qatar. A 23-year-old scores a hat-trick in a World Cup final, the first man to do it in 56 years. 3 goals on the biggest stage that exists. Pelé never did it. Maradona never did it. Messi and Ronaldo never did it. And Kylian Mbappe lost anyway. That night created a ghost. And this summer, in America, the ghost came back for him. This is the strangest curse in football. Bondy, a working-class suburb northeast of Paris. Tower blocks, caged concrete pitches, and dreams with no exit. Kylian was born there in December 1998, 5 months after France lifted its first World Cup. The whole country was still celebrating, as if destiny was writing the sequel before the child could walk. And here's the detail that makes this story poetry. The walls of his childhood bedroom were covered in posters of one player, Cristiano Ronaldo. The boy from Bondy fell asleep every night staring at the man from Madeira. Remember that. It matters later. His father, Wilfried, of Cameroonian origin, was his first coach at the local club. AS Bondy, the man who taught him the game on those caged pitches. His mother, Faiza Lamari, of Algerian origin, was a professional handball player, a competitor to her bones. And when Europe's giants came hunting for her teenage son, Faiza did something almost no football mother has ever done. She sat across the table from club presidents and billionaires and negotiated herself. No super agent. Mom. To this day, she runs his career, and club executives fear her more than any agent alive. At 13, every giant in Europe wanted him. He trained at Clairefontaine, France's Temple of Talent. Real Madrid flew him in as a kid. There's a famous photo of little Kylian beside his idol's manager, Zidane. Then Monaco, and at 16, he broke a record that had stood since Thierry Henry, the club's youngest scorer ever. At 18, a €180 million move to Paris, the most expensive teenager in the history of sport. The rocket had left Bondy. Russia, 2018. Age 19. Mbappe destroyed Argentina in the knockouts, then scored in the final itself, the first teenager to score in a World Cup final since Pelé in 1958. France, champions. And then, quietly, the part they don't put on posters, he donated his entire World Cup earnings, hundreds of thousands of euros, to a children's charity. His reasoning was simple. He plays for France. You don't get paid to serve a dream. 19 years old. Then came the night that broke logic. Qatar, 2022, the final against Messi's Argentina. France were dead, 2-0 down, 80 minutes gone. And in 97 seconds, Mbappe scored twice and dragged them back from the grave. Extra time, he scored again. A hat-trick. In a World Cup final. And then the penalty shootout came. And football chose Messi's fairytale over his. He stood frozen at the center circle while Argentina's party exploded around him. The golden boot in his hand. The silver medal around his neck. Greatest final ever played. And he's the man history filed under lost. What followed were the strange years. The ugly divorce from Paris. Euro 2024 behind a black mask with a broken nose. The dream move to Real Madrid finally happening. Wearing white in the stadium of his childhood posters. Everything achieved. Except the ghost. So he arrived in America this summer as captain of the scariest attack on earth. A France side being compared to Brazil's legendary 1982 team. 16 goals in 6 games. Mbappe scored 8 of them himself, and with every strike he climbed the golden boot race, neck and neck with, of all people. Lionel Messi. One more time. The ghost and him. July 14th. The semi-final. Spain. And for one night, the fastest man in football ran into a red wall. Rodri's midfield swallowed. France whole. Mbappe said it himself afterward. They kept finding themselves outnumbered. 3 against 2, in the middle of the pitch. It took France over 75 minutes to manage a single shot on target. 2-0. And here's the record. That slipped away with the whistle. One more. Win would have made him only the second man in the history of this sport, after Brazil's Cafu, to play in 3 World Cup finals. But watch what he did next, because this is why the story isn't over. No hiding. No blaming teammates. He stood in front of the cameras and took it apart like a surgeon. Too sloppy, he said. First touches not good enough. couldn't hurt them when it mattered, including himself in every word. And then the sentence that tells you everything about what comes next. This squad, he said, has everything it needs to rise again. So here's where we leave him, 27 years old.